Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Friday's market wrap up. And wow, what a week it has been. We're sitting here expecting the arrival of Dorian in South Florida, making all our hurricane preparation, and we're battening down the hatches here. All right. Great week here at Top Gun Options. Had a bunch of different trades on. We have a CSX bull put spread that's looking to expire at the end of the day here for max profit of about $1,500. We have a bear call spread on FXI. That's the China ETF. It's up 82% right now, $1,300 right now, and looking to expire for $1,650 by the end of the day. We have a bear call spread on the S&P 500 out to next week. That's the next Friday expiration, already up about $150. And then my iron condor. This one's going to be a dogfight into the close, folks. This is an iron condor on VXX, potentially making $3,600 by the end of the day. We just need VXX to stay above 26.76 for some profit, or above 27 for a max profit of $3,600 on $3,900 in risk. We're at 27.01 right now on VXX. Like I said, I'm going to dogfight this one into the close. We're seeing a market that was negative, that's positive, that's negative. We're just going to cycle this one into the close here. So good stuff. We also have a Visa bull put spread, or I'm sorry, a Visa iron condor that is going to expire for a max profit. Let's go take a look at that one right now. Okay, here's the primary live trade brief portfolio. So this is the iron condor on Visa. Check that out. Up 85% right now, $3,500. So look at this. Check out this iron condor. We were risking about $3,400 to make $4,100, and look at this thing going right through the uprights. This is another example, ladies and gentlemen, of in your full throttle training, I've taught you to stay disciplined, to stay with your trade plan, because look at this. The 180, 177.5 bull put spread, Tuesday, Wednesday was underwater. People were starting to panic. I never panic, folks. Even trying to land aboard a ship at night in bad weather on one engine, you don't panic, right? You stick to the plan and you stick to what's going on here. So another great trade. What's that? Just quick math. If we get the full $4,000 here, and there was about $4 grand over in the weekly options portfolios, folks, this is a big week. About $7,000-8,000 in profits this week on trades, and seeing that much profit in a market that looks like this is pretty damn good, ladies and gentlemen. So I remain volatile to bearish on the market. We can't get back up to this 50-day moving average. We fail every time we try and get up there. We went through here, little periscope up here, not even close here, about the same. This is a well, 1, 2, 3. It is a quadruple top, and that ain't bullish. Now, the only reason that this rip higher hasn't been sold is because Donald J. Trump hasn't said a word on Twitter at all about China. Seems like every day, a couple tweets a day on China. What's he doing now? He's just blasting the Fed. If the Fed would cut, we would have the biggest stock market increases in a long time. Badly run and weak companies are smartly blaming these small tariffs instead of themselves for bad management. And who can really blame them for doing that? Excuses. We don't have a tariff problem. We are reining in bad and or unfair players. Agreed. We have a Fed problem. They don't have a clue. Wow. They don't have a clue, Mr. President. You're right. They should be raising interest rates with everything that's going on. Okay, quick strategic brief around the world. This tanker, this mysterious tanker that the Brits seized in Gibraltar that we wanted to seize, but the liberal globalist in Gibraltar, that court let this Iranian tanker go, tried to sail over to Turkey. And if you watch the track of this thing, it literally goes into this Gulf and does a 180 and right back out. I think it's supposed to go to Lebanon. They're playing, where is this tanker? Because I think we want to seize it. Keeping an eye on that. Good article this week about what's going on in Brazil and the privatization efforts going on down there. I think Bolsonaro is solid. He's doing a great job down there. That's the one losing trade that expires today, was a bull put spread down here on Brazil. So the bull put spread taking it on the chin, but guess what? I sold 2 bear call spreads above it, which more or less limited the loss. So I think the The two bear call spreads brought in about, what was that, $3,800, $4 grand, and then the bull put spread at max loss was a 5, so net about a grand loss with the three Brazil trades there. But nice, good looking recovery out of this, although it does look like it does this dead cat bounce, dead cat bounce, dead cat bounce, and then that necessarily ain't a bullish trend. But we're going to talk about Brazil more next week. Hong Kong, not good. We're supposed to have a weekend of clashes, and what happens? The Hong Kong police came in, or the Chinese police came in and arrested a bunch of the protest leaders. So guess what? Which is bad. So they kind of thought that maybe arresting these folks would cool things down. It's going to do the exact opposite. It's not like these Hong Kong activists, these leaders didn't have replacements or don't have buddies, or everybody's going to go home. Now this is going to piss off people even more. So I don't know, man. That's another reason we've been bearish on FXI, is because obviously if they go Tiananmen Square on this thing, we ain't getting a trade deal. Speaking of trade deal, what a clown car from the G7 summit where the president more or less lied. Trump made up the quote high-level phone calls with China to boost markets. Aides admit. So you can tell the dude was lying. He's not a good liar. Doesn't have a good poker face. And Mnuchin was sitting there squirming in his chair as the president said, "Yeah, there were calls. Let's just move on." Of course, there might have been calls, but it wasn't with the folks that the president claimed. So his jawboning, trying to get this market higher, it's insane to me that we're in a market, and I love it. We've been trading the hell out of this thing, long vol, short vol, long market, short market, and printing money while we're doing it. But this is the market we're in. We're in a 3-day rally here. Why? Because the president shut up. Think about that, folks. The only reason the market's up right now is because the president isn't talking about the trade war, which, maybe it's a negotiation tactic. Maybe there's a lot of things going on behind closed doors. But folks, tomorrow, or I'm sorry, Sunday, the tariffs go into effect. They didn't, even though they said yesterday, hey, we'd like to resolve this with a calm attitude, it doesn't matter. The tariffs are still going into effect on Monday, right? Unless, I don't know, Sunday night the president makes a midnight declaration or something like that. I just don't see that coming. So we're not out of the woods. I'd sell into this rally. We have a bear call spread out next Friday on the S&P 500 up here. I just think we're heading lower. We're not even close to being out of the woods yet. So stocks were higher, stocks were lower, stocks were higher, and now we're just kind of wallowing around here. So the tariff deadline's coming up here, and I guess the market's just saying yay. The president hasn't said anything stupid lately to talk us down. How about consumer spending today? Here's the issue. So if things are getting a little nicer on the trade war, and we have this type of macroeconomic data, consumer spending sharp climb in July. Where's Pocahontas and Spartacus and the Irishman who pretends he's a Mexican? What recession, folks? Russia, recession. You say it long enough, maybe people start believing it. There ain't no recession on the horizon, folks. The consumer is in fuego. A little soft housing numbers this week, but consumer spending rose sharply in July. Why, ladies and gentlemen, on September 18th, is the Fed going to cut interest rates? Somebody give me a reason. Trade. I thought things were getting nicer on trade. Macroeconomic data is weak. It isn't. It's great. So kind of like last time over here, ladies and gentlemen, the Fed cut and had to scramble and find a reason why they cut. Before the Jackson Hole speech from Jerome Powell, 3 of his Fed lieutenants sat there on CNBC and said, we didn't think we should cut rates last time. I think they should stop. They shouldn't cut or shouldn't increase and just sit on their hands, man. If they're going to be data dependent, guess what? The data is relatively good. Consumer confidence, though, went down in August as consumers face, quote, the tariff cliff. Okay, so a little bit of, like I said, mixed macroeconomic data. Big surge in spending for Q2, but the Q2 GDP was revised a little bit lower to 2.0. That was in line, folks. So that wasn't a miss. The forecast was 2.0, and that's what we got. This thing is still shocking me. Bill Dudley's an idiot, the former New York Fed president, urging Jerome Powell essentially to stick it to the president so he loses. This is what we have, folks. We have Democrats and liberals in this country hoping you lose your job. They hope your family gets hurt, gets impacted, so Donald Trump doesn't get reelected. Think of that. Your fellow Americans. Same week that the Inspector General finds that Jerome Comey, Comey, a human piece of shit, the chief law enforcement officer at the FBI, was a dirty cop above the law. You did something like that, you get arrested. Jim Comey, no wonder he found Hillary Clinton. He gave us a 19-minute press conference of why she should be indicted and charged, followed by 2 minutes of why he wasn't going to, because he was doing the same thing. So here you go, folks. The deep state is alive and well, and they protect their own. If I was a naval officer and did 1/1000th of what Comey or Clinton did, I would have been arrested, court-martialed, clearance pulled, thrown in jail, and life ruined. It's disgrace, absolute disgrace. And if you're a Democrat or liberal and you're not going crazy because of what Comey did, you're part of the problem. Insiders are selling $600 million of stock per day. Share buybacks by companies have hit their lowest level in about 18 months. Not a big recipe for good, but on a positive note, what? We're the best house in a bad neighborhood. There's no place like the U.S., right? Foreign investors are piling into our stocks and bonds at the fastest pace in about a year. So that's a good thing. People are buying our debt. People are buying our stocks. But guess who's selling it to them? Insiders, and the companies aren't buying their own. This isn't the recipe for a dynamic turnaround. Okay, so again, the only reason we're really up today is and we're wallowing around being up is what? That the president hasn't said a word. He's got to be foaming at the mouth, holding on to his phone, wanting to say something about trade. So I probably on Tuesday. Remember Monday's close markets close for Labor Day. Monday, start getting your powder ready because I think it's time to get long volatility on Tuesday. Okay, we'll see what happens over the weekend with the protests and all that type of stuff. But I think it's a solid bet that we're not out of the woods. Even if we're talking again, ladies and gentlemen, what does that mean? So we haven't been talking to the Chinese, which sucks, but us talking again doesn't mean anything, right? We were miles apart on the biggest issues. Mnuchin said, oh, we're 90% of the way to a deal. He didn't tell us that the 10% remained is the biggest stuff that we care about. So we're not out of the woods yet, folks. 3 days does not a rally make. And in closing, we didn't rally up to this 50-day, and we're falling short of it. So I just think we're heading lower. Great week in trading, like I said, and I didn't even cover the accelerated retirement or a weekly debrief portfolio. Those had a bunch of winners in there this week as well. I'm going to round up and say close to $10,000 in profitable trades that are expiring in the close. I'm going to have to keep an eye on that VXX iron condor, but we're hanging right around $27, which is full profit. 27, whatever it was, 67 is my break even. Okay. So I think we kind of give up this little bit of a rally into the close. Everybody's heading out for the long weekend, and I just don't see some super big buying orders into the close. So I'm going to hang in that iron condor. Okay. Hopefully everybody had a great week. Awesome week. One of our best weeks here at Top Gun Options. We've been loving this volatility, and we're going to continue to love it and make some money. Okay. Have a great rest of your day. Happy Labor Day, everybody down here in Florida. Please stay safe, and I will talk to you on Tuesday. God bless.